Hi guys, and welcome to the unboxing of the LC Power 1200 watt 80 plus platinum power supply. I've got it here. I just cut the plastic off and now we're gonna check what's inside the box. So we've got a 135mm fan, DC to DC, full cable management. That's nice. Let's look at it. We've got a really strong single rail of 100 amps. We've got some European certifications. The thing weighs actually 2.14 kilograms, and here you can see that it's pretty long with 19 centimeters. Alright, on this side of the box you can see how many connectors it has, and from what we can see we've got 10 PCIe 8 pins, 9 SATAs, 6 Molecs, 2 floppies and 2 8-pin connectors, and it's fully modular. So let's open the box. Alright, so we've got some paperwork here. Okay, so this manual is in different languages. Here it is in German. And here it's in English. So the LC Power is actually a German company, as I've learned now. Alright, now back to the box. This looks like you get an installation frame. Let's get that. Oh, it's glued on there. Okay. Then we've got the power supply and our cable management bag, which is quite heavy and quite big as well. Okay, so from my perspective, this doesn't look overly long, but I'd say let's get it out of the box, out of the back. Okay, so quick fan test, seems fine, smells new. Here you've got your warranty sticker, so that screw there is covered. Oh, here you've got a pretty small exhaust, and apparently this is the only one. So that looks new to me. Okay, and Let's check the plugs at the back. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SATA plugs, motherboard plug which splits into this and this. We've got our CPU plugs and we've got our GPU plugs. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I'm wondering how this will work out if we only have 10 8-pin connectors. So let's check out what cables we have in here. So we've got a pretty strong power cable for the wall plug. So this is the European edition, because I'm in Europe here. Alright, so let's sort this out. What do we have here? Okay, SATA. Aha! This is actually a split bag, so we've got another bag here and an empty one here. So this is our mainboard stuff. This is our SATA stuff and the main power plug. So let's check that out. SATA 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we've got the Molex plugs and the floppy plugs. So Molex we've got 1, 2, 3 and a floppy. And a floppy and 1, 2, 3 Molex. And 1, 2, 3 SATAs. Alright. Good. Now let's check what we have in this bag. So yeah, these are our GPU connectors, our PCIe pins. So we've got this plugs into the power supply, and we've got a 6+2 power connect and another one. Okay. Same game, but on this one, on this one there's only one 8-pin and a 6-pin. So that's interesting. We put this here. This is our CPU cable with one plug missing. That's also new to me, but whatever. Okay, so this splits into 4x4. And we've got another dual 8-pin. Another single 8-pin. Another CPU 4x4. Another dual 8-pin. Another single 8-pin. And another single 8-pin. Okay, so we've got 4 single 8-pins and 3 dual 4-pins. So this makes 6, and these 4 make it up to 10. Pretty cool. I guess I'll stick to the single ones, to the 4 singles, because the reason I'm switching to this power supply and why I want to use this new one is, from our last video, you know, I used this 800 watt power supply. Let me switch the camera on here. This 800 watt power supply with bronze rating from my local computer vendor. However, let me switch again. When I upgraded, I got a second Vega, which landed now on my computer. And on the load, I'm quite often peaking above 800 watts on the wall. And the gaming load, when the CPU is also used, I'm peaking up to 950 up to 1000 watts. So this power supply is now just overloaded, and the PC crashes as soon as you have that load going on for longer than 30 seconds. Which is legit, because this is just an 800 watts power supply. So what I plan to do is using that platinum power supply with 8 pins here, so I don't need to use these daisy chains anymore. Much more like this here. So using 2 separate cables, but without these extra 8 pins hanging off in the case, which is just looking ugly. So 2 things to worry about: the length. This is the fractal design Define S, just so you know. And the problem is, if you got a long power supply, you need to replace your optional 140mm fan, which you can see now my finger sticks in between, but I had that 1200 watt Cooler Master power supply, and then I needed to downgrade to a 120mm fan here, because yeah, with the plugs here and there, and it was just too long. So I'm really wondering whether the new one will work out here. Yeah, so far I'm pretty happy. This is the radiator of the top GPU, and the radiator of the bottom GPU is actually lying on the top right now, since I have to mount it on the door panel, like right here. And yeah, as you can see, the door panel isn't on, obviously, so that's why I have it on top right now. So yeah, the second thing is, this power supply only has one 8-pin for the CPU. However, I got the Asus Crosshair 60 AM4 motherboard, and as you can or cannot see, I'll zoom in, wait a second. Yeah. This board actually has an 8-pin and an additional 4-pin, where this fan cable there is in front of now, but I guess you can see it anyways. Yeah, there. You can see it very. So this motherboard supports 8 plus 4-pin, 12 volt power for the CPU to increase stability. I didn't need it really, but I guess it's nice to have. So yeah, I'll get this thing out now and the new one in, and then we will check back later. Also, I'm wondering, like, this is a pretty old school power supply. It's built for mounting up here where old cases had the mounting, so that's why the letters are upside down. And the other thing is, the single CPU cable is actually pretty short, so yeah, I hope the new ones are longer than this. So here we are on the back side. This is my fan hub, my 2 hard drives, and yeah, the fan on top here, because the panel is closed, isn't plugged in right now, because it would be a waste. And this here is the additional fan that I use for the push-pull on the top Vega GPU. So yeah, back on the table. Now let's inspect this thing here. See what we've got. Oh, okay, so this is actually not a mounting frame, but a rubber bumper, so the vibrations by the power supply are further mitigated. And here we've got some usual accessories, but hardly usable. some zip ties, fairly standard. The 4 screws to mount the power supplies. I'll use these. And another 4 screws. I guess I won't use these. But cool that they give you the option for both. Quite nice. Okay, so I'll try to mount the power supply with this here for increased noise dampening. Now let's check out whether that will work out. Now let's get this thing over to the computer. I'm starting to realize that this power supply is longer as the smaller 800 watt power supply, which was also bigger than the 500 watt more Cooler Master Masterboard Lite. So I'll actually have to remove this fan here again and get rid of my bottom intake, which is necessary because I got this triple fan intake here in the front, and until I've got another 120mm fan incoming, I just have this spot being blank. Alright, so let's get to work and replace this one.